The loudspeaker at Heathrow Airport crackled to life, announcing yet another delayed flight. Sarah Turner sighed and tightened her grip on her daughter's tiny hand. The little girl, Lily, clutched a worn-out stuffed bunny and looked up with tired eyes. "Mommy, are we almost going?" she asked softly. Sarah forced a smile. "Soon, sweetheart. Just a little longer." She tucked a strand of chestnut hair behind her ear and glanced at the terminal board again. Delayed. Of course. It felt like her entire life was delayed. Dreams, love, everything. At 29, Sarah was a single mother, working 2 jobs, a waitress by day and a cleaning assistant by night. She had been saving every penny for this trip. Her mother, who lived in Scotland, had been unwell, and Sarah wanted to bring Lily to visit her. But as she stood in the crowded airport, exhaustion weighed her down. She looked around. Businessmen tapping on laptops, travelers with designer luggage, families laughing together. And then there was her, in faded jeans and a thrifted coat, clutching a second-hand suitcase that barely zipped. She turned her attention to Lily, who was coloring quietly in her little notebook. At least she's happy, Sarah thought. That's what matters. Chapter 1. The Chance Encounter. The smell of roasted coffee drifted through the air. Sarah led Lily to a small cafe inside the terminal. As she stood in line, she pulled out her purse and counted the few bills she had left, just enough for a sandwich and hot chocolate. While she waited, she didn't notice the tall man a few people behind her, though he noticed her immediately. His name was Ethan Reed, and the moment he saw her, the air left his lungs. It had been 10 years since he last saw Sarah Turner, the girl who once owned his heart, the girl he had planned to marry before life tore them apart. Back then, Ethan was just a dreamer, a broke university student studying business and working part-time in a bookstore. Sarah had been the love of his life, kind, smart, and full of warmth. But fate had other plans. When his father lost everything, Ethan had to leave abruptly for America to rebuild his family's business. Promises to stay in touch faded under the weight of distance and years. And now, as he stood there in an airport cafe wearing a tailored navy suit and a watch worth more than her car, he was no longer the boy she knew. He was the CEO of Reed Global Enterprises, one of the fastest-growing tech companies in the world. But when he saw her, hair messy, clothes simple, holding a little girl, he didn't see her struggles. He saw the same gentle soul who once believed in him before anyone else did. "Next, please," the barista called. Sarah ordered a sandwich and hot chocolate for Lily, just black coffee for herself. As she reached into her wallet, coins tumbled onto the floor. She bent down quickly, embarrassed. "Here, let me," said a familiar voice. Sarah froze. The tone was deep, warm, achingly familiar. She looked up, and her world stopped. "Ethan," she whispered. He smiled softly. "Hey, Sarah." For a moment, time folded in on itself. She was 20 again, standing in a university hallway, watching him grin as he handed her a coffee, teasing her about always being late. But then, reality returned. She blinked, noticing his expensive suit, his confident posture, the people glancing at him with respect. She stood, awkwardly brushing off her jeans. "Wow, it's been years." 10, he said quietly. "You look amazing." Sarah laughed awkwardly. "Yeah, right. I look like I haven't slept in 10 years. Ethan chuckled. Still the same sense of humor. Lily tugged on Sarah's sleeve. "Mommy, who's that?" Sarah hesitated, but Ethan knelt down, smiling at the little girl. "Hey there, I'm Ethan." Lily giggled shyly. "I'm Lily. I like your watch." Ethan grinned. "Thank you, Miss Lily. That's a very high compliment." Chapter 2. Coffee and Memories. They sat. The Manhattan skyline glimmered outside the window as Sarah stood in the kitchen of her new apartment. It was spacious, with a breathtaking view of Central Park, a far cry from her tiny London flat. Lily's laughter echoed from the living room as she played with the puppy Ethan had surprised her with last week. Sarah smiled, still not used to this new world, the ease, the comfort, the warmth. A year ago, she was struggling to afford groceries. Now she woke up beside a man who had once been her first love, and who had turned out to be one of New York's most admired CEOs. But as beautiful as everything seemed, Deep inside, Sarah still battled one thought. Did she really belong here? Ethan was busy most days, meetings, investors, events. Though he always made time for her and Lily, Sarah couldn't help but feel like an outsider in his world of wealth and luxury. That morning, she set a cup of coffee in front of him as he read through a file. "You have that big investor dinner tonight?" she asked. He looked up, smiling. "Yeah, but I'd rather stay home with you two." She chuckled. "You say that every time." He reached across the table and took her hand. "Because it's true." Her heart melted. He meant it. She could see it in his eyes. Still, as he left later for the office, Sarah felt a quiet ache. She had built walls over the years, and sometimes she wasn't sure she knew how to live without them. Chapter 2. The Whisper of the Past. That afternoon, while grocery shopping, Sarah overheard two women whispering near the magazine rack. "Did you hear about Ethan Reed's fiancée?" one said. "Yeah, some single mom he met in London. Must be quite the story. I heard she used to clean offices." Sarah froze. Her hand tightened on the shopping basket. The women laughed softly and walked away. She tried to shake it off, but the words lingered. Must be quite the story. That night she told Ethan about it as they sat on the balcony. He frowned. "People talk, Sarah. They don't know you." "I know," she said, staring at the skyline. "It's just, sometimes I feel like I'm not enough for your world." Ethan stood, walked over, and gently lifted her chin. "Listen to me. You are more than enough. You're the reason I have a world worth living in." Tears stung her eyes. "Promise me you won't ever regret choosing me." He smiled softly. "I waited 10 years to find you again. I'm not losing you this time." Chapter 3. The Storm. Before the calm. 2 weeks later, Ethan invited Sarah to accompany him to a high-profile charity dinner, the same event that had once brought them back together. He wanted to officially introduce her to his board members and close friends. Sarah was nervous. She spent the entire day preparing, choosing a simple yet elegant gown. Lily helped with her hair, beaming proudly. When they arrived, the cameras flashed. Reporters whispered as Ethan held her hand, introducing her with quiet confidence. But amid the elegance and champagne, one person's presence changed everything. Standing near the bar was Vanessa Cole, Ethan's former business partner, and the woman who once had a not-so-secret crush on him. She approached with a polite smile. "Ethan, darling, it's been too long." Ethan nodded politely. "Vanessa, you look well." Her gaze slid towards Sarah. "And this must be the famous fiancé. Sarah, is it?" Sarah offered her hand. "Nice to meet you." Vanessa's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Oh, I've heard so much about you. From cleaning tables to catching a CEO. Quite the fairy tale." Sarah stiffened. Ethan's expression hardened. "That's enough, Vanessa." "Oh, relax," Vanessa said with a smirk. "I just meant it's inspiring. Truly." Sarah forced a polite smile, but her chest burned. She excused herself, walking to the terrace for air. Ethan followed moments later. "Hey, don't let her get to you. She's bitter." "I know," Sarah said quietly. "But maybe she's right. You could have anyone, Ethan."